Hello and welcome to the Gene Pool. I'm your host, Dr. Michael Aldridge. I'm often asked by family and friends, what does a geneticist actually do? And that's the reason for me creating this podcast, is to try and answer that question. I think I'm quite lucky because I get to work on a number of different projects related to animal breeding, but most of them are focused on genomic prediction. Over the coming episodes, I'll discuss this in further detail. But my day-to-day activities this week have mostly been focusing on preparation for a meeting that I'll be going to in Budapest next week as part of the Feed a Gene project. One of the most common things I do as an animal geneticist is to calculate heritabilities for traits. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to explain this concept. There is variation in every trait, from birth weight to the time it takes to swim 100 meters. Now, there's three components to this variation. There's a random part, which we don't know the cause of. There's an environmental component. This is things such as diet and climate. And then there's a genetic component, which you get from the mother and father. Now, you sum these three components together and you get the total variation. Heritability is just the percentage of this total variation caused by the genetic component. Today I'm joined by Tom Burhoff. Tom, why don't you jump in the pool and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Previously, like last year, I defended my PhD thesis and I worked on, breeding healthy chickens. That's basically what I did. In my free time, I like to run, play football, and in the near future, by the end of this year, I will hopefully move to Germany.
Well, it's good to know that geneticists don't just sit behind a computer all day. And what are you doing at the moment at Wageningen?
I am working on how we can improve the health of layer chickens through breeding. Well, as I said in the past, I have focused on improvement of the chicken immune system. And more recently, I've shifted my focus to using large data sets, big data, we call that, to investigate resilience of chickens.
That's interesting. But could you explain resilience in a little bit more detail for us?
So the way we look at resilience is we look at deviations of production traits. So look at it in this way. If you are sick, you do not feel like working. And the same is for chickens. If they are sick, they do not or might not be able to lay an egg. So we can quantify how much they deviate in egg production. And we think that is a measure of resilience.
That's a very clear explanation. We'll have to have you back one week to tell us some results. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, you're welcome. Do you have a towel for me?
Of course. I think they are over there behind the lab coats. Thanks for listening. I hope you've learnt something about what animal geneticists do. I hope you join me for the next episode.